In the work from home era we're all in today, we are the least connected we've ever been. But in a beautiful way at the same time, it's brought us together interactively in areas we couldn't have seen possible before. My name is Scotty Gange, and welcome into the new video chat interview series Above the Line, here as part of Scotty G in the Morning, where we get an inside look at people from all walks of life and how they're adapting to the situation that the COVID-19 pandemic has placed us all in, and what they're doing to come out the other side as a victor rather than a victim. Our first guest is Eddie McCabe, a junior infielder at Georgetown University. With his season cut short and the great uncertainty with the upcoming MLB Draft, McCabe is in a situation where all he can focus on is what he can control. Here's a peek into Eddie's world as he reflects on his time at Georgetown and looks forward to the MLB Draft here on Above the Line.
I packed my stuff and went home, and now it kind of feels like we're back in high school again. But it's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you too, man. Is Norwalk treating you okay? The home is treating you all right?
Oh yeah. It's nice to be at home for a little bit. You know, mom's home cooked meals and stuff like that. But you know, kind of itching to play baseball again for sure.
I could only imagine. Hey, you mentioned on March 16th you got the news that the season was over. You had to go home. What were your reactions to that news right away?
I mean, it was weird for sure because we were actually in Florida the day before, I believe, and we were getting ready to play Lafayette in a weekend series. And our coach said to us, hey, this thing, because up until that point, we had been hearing that people were kind of canceling their seasons. We were like, what are we going to do? And our coach was like, we're going to play for as long as we can, hopefully. But obviously, things are kind of out of our control. And he said, Lafayette's not coming down this weekend. We have agreed to play FGCU for a weekend series. And then like 3 hours later, we're like, okay, we're probably only going to play Friday because they're kind of starting to shut everything down. And then 2 hours later, they said our season's canceled. And we're sitting there. It was our off day on Thursday. And I remember we were in the hotel pool or whatever it was. And we're like, what do you mean our season's canceled? It's just like something that just seems surreal. Like, with everything that goes out on the outside world, like baseball always seems to be a constant for us because it's kind of like our whole lives. And then obviously when it gets canceled, it's just like that moment of like, now what do we do? And then the next morning we were on a plane back to DC. Obviously everyone's telling us like, don't fly, but we have to fly to get home. We pack our stuff and then we're done. We're out. I think everyone left within 24 hours. So it's just, 2 days before you're sitting at home in your bedroom, you're playing baseball against, Army West Point and Jacob Hurtubise. And then 2 days later, you're sitting at home again. So it's crazy.
I know that a junior and senior season in college baseball can be such a special thing, right? It's almost a farewell season. You get to spend it with people at the school and your coaches and most of all your teammates. In the 24-hour window, did you have a chance to say goodbye and give any hugs or anything like that? Or was it kind of a rush to get out of there?
It was, honestly, I can say it was sad because, especially for our senior guys, you're being juniors, like that's the class you're probably closest to because, as a senior in high school, they take you on all your visits and, you have all your kind of your bond with them, with the class above you. For them to be with them when they found out that possibly their last game of baseball ever came 2 days prior, without them even getting a chance to kind of come to terms with it, stuff like that, like, hey, by the way, 2 days ago we played Army West Point. That was your last game ever. And, at least in college. And, for them to kind of just like see the looks on their faces, see like the kind of sense of shock that they had, was just kind of heartbreaking for me for sure. And then when we all got back to the locker room and we were cleaning our stuff out, just kind of seeing like the looks of realization on their face, they were kind of just like sad. And it was tough to go through, especially, for being so close to those guys. Cause like, you feel for them. It's an unfortunate situation. I think, at the end of the day, it was probably the right thing to do to cancel our seasons, obviously. But, for them to not have that realization and not know that they were playing their last game of baseball till 2 days later is tough for sure.
Yeah, I could only imagine, and we talked about this before. A junior season in college baseball for guys looking to enter the draft is it, right? You played
Yeah.
128 total games in your Georgetown career, but the 56 or so that you were going to play this year was kind of the season to make your mark and really etch your
Mhm.
name into the upcoming MLB draft. And now you don't have that. What is that like in that process now?
Well, I think the thing that's the worst part for me, and I think a lot of guys who, especially on the Birds last summer, I think that a lot of them will agree to this. The worst thing about it is that nothing is in your control. There's nothing that you can kind of grasp and say, okay, if I do this, this, and this, I'll set myself up in a good situation, right? The thing about especially being like a college athlete, a lot of things that you do are up to you. It's your choice to go get extra work in the cages. It's your choice to go get another lift in after lunch or whatever like that, right? So a lot of the things you do to try to give yourself success is up to you. Now that's completely changed. We're sitting at home. We're still doing everything that we can to stay, baseball game ready for whenever that, phone call comes and says, hey, draft is this day. We're doing this, that, and the other thing to get ready. You're going to go here, here, and here to put yourself in front of scouts. But, right now it's kind of just like this limbo where you can't really do much except for hit off a tee in your backyard. At least for me, being in Connecticut, all of our parks are closed. All of our fields are shut down. Like, the gates are locked up. You can't go into like really public places that much unless it's like the grocery store.
And realistically, you can only do this so much in the day. It's not like you can be hitting off the tee for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And so to have that kind of sense of like nothing is in your control, there's really not much you can do except for stay at home, do what you're told, and hit off a tee and, take ground balls in your backyard. It's like that feeling is just like the worst because it's like, you want to have control, like especially during your junior season, you want to be in charge of what you're doing, but unforeseen circumstances put you in a place where you just can't do that.
I think a lot of people, whether you are a baseball player or not, are struggling with that right now and staying at home all day and trying to find motivation. To be somebody who has reached, peaks in terms of athleticism and athletic play and everything like that, in terms of training, what is something that you are trying to do right now to get that motivation to go out and work on the tee, even though it's such a weird time right now?
Yeah. I mean, the mental side of it is definitely huge. You kind of got to like just keep pushing yourself forward as hard as you can. Because I said this to someone yesterday, it's being kind of locked in your house, being like under quarantine, like it puts you in this type of like bubble that makes you think like, oh, I'm, for a split second, like, oh, I'm the only one going through this, like blah, blah, blah. And then you have to kind of take yourself and take a step back and say like, in my example with the draft, it's like thousands of guys across America are going through this right now. Like it's not just one person who's stuck in their house, can't really do anything about it. It's thousands of other people. And the thing that's going to set you apart is like, what are you doing right now when the world is quiet to keep yourself ready so that when the time does come and we get the green light, you put yourself ahead of the curve.
Right.
So I think, the thing that's really keeping me going, the thing that's keeping a lot of people going is the thought that, I'm not the only one going through this. There's definitely someone out there that's working harder than me right now, and I have to work harder than them. So, you can't really just sit there and do nothing because, somewhere out there, someone's doing something. So that's definitely how I'm trying to look at it for sure.
So you can't go to the gym, you can't be bench pressing or hitting a live pitcher every single day. I'm guessing it's mostly for you, you're trying to improve your mental side of the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you do as much as you can physically. Our guys at Georgetown sent us like body weight workouts. We're getting creative and like, doing goblet squats with backpacks, stuff with textbooks and stuff like that. We're hitting off tees. I'm throwing, in the backyard. But, it's tough to do those physical things when you're out of your element, when we're under quarantine. You can't really do much. But, I think a big part of it is the mental side where you just have to say, like, do as much as you can. Things are out of your control. You can't get to a gym. You can't get to the cages, but do as much as you can.
And what is that? Like, what are you trying to do in improving your mental game? Like, what do you do?
Just kind of like I said, like just kind of visualize. Visualization is a big part of it. We did a lot of that during the summer. Um, you know, if you can set yourself up on a tee and kind of visually, like mentally picture yourself facing off against someone in the Cape, picture yourself facing off someone against in the Big East,
Mhm.
kind of just go through those mental reps and just say like, okay, like this is the situation I'm in. This is what I'd want to do in that situation, and just kind of do it like that. The mental reps for sure are a big part of it, and visualization is a big part too.
Very cool. So when you look forward and now you're kind of visualizing what the draft is going to be. We touched on it before. We recorded the interview, but the MLB has come out saying, hey, it might be 5 rounds, it might be
Hmm.
10, we might not have a draft at all. Looking
Yeah.
at all the uncertainty with it, how are you in your terms of your mental? How are you approaching that and mindset?
Yeah, I mean the announcement for sure was a bombshell because you set up your entire baseball career from the time you're like 8 years old and say, hey, I want to get drafted in the MLB. You get to your junior year and this happens, and then they say it might only be 5 rounds. That's kind of like like a big shot to the heart a little bit, because it's just like you go from 40 rounds to 5. That's a lot of people getting cut out of the draft right there. But uh, I understand the MLB has to do what they have to do under these circumstances. They're going to probably be losing a lot of money not playing from April, but playing from July. So, and at the end of the day, this is a business. So they're going to do what they have to do. It's definitely tough on the amateur players. It's tough on the college guys because, like I said, we've been kind of preparing for this for a long time. And I said it before, but there's a lot of guys who don't get drafted in the top 5 rounds for whatever reason that are MLB caliber talent. I think you can just look at the Cape Cod League itself. There's way more than 150 players in that league, and that's the top 5 rounds. And every single one of those guys, I'd argue, that could be in the major leagues one day. To cut it from 40 to 5 is obviously a huge number. It's tough, but it's just something that you kind of got to roll with the punches. And I'm sure a lot of the guys are going to sign as undrafted free agents. A lot of guys are going to go back to school, but hopefully the MLB sees that 5 is too short and they take 10 or 15, because that gives that many people more of a chance.
It's the difference
Um,
between a world of opportunity, right?
oh, for sure, for sure. The draft at the end of the day is something that you've been dreaming about since, like I said, you were 8 years old. And to have it cut short by that substantial amount of people is a lot. But you find a way to get through it. You find a way to kind of get yourself into the league. And I'm sure, like I said, there's 1,000 guys going with that same mindset. Like, I just got to get in somehow. So it's strange, it's different, but at the end of the day, guys are gonna get in. Guys are gonna play their game that they want to play. So we just gotta, like I said, roll with the punches.
Yeah, you mentioned this summer, and I have no doubt you're going to approach things with a positive mindset, because several times in conversation, you said, yeah, my dream is to make the pros. My dream is to make the pros. So I know you're approaching this with a positive mindset. There's a lot of negatives to it, right? You played 17 games in what should have been 56 to 60.
Yeah.
Your season got cut short so quickly. But if you can find a positive out of this entire situation, and the season ending, and maybe spending more time at home, what would you say for you personally?
Yeah, well, I'd say I think it's two things. Number one is getting to spend time with your family. During the season, you barely see them at all. So being able to come home, kind of, reset your mind a little bit, be with them for a little while is really nice. Especially because, as a junior getting ready for the draft, a lot of guys, even after school, they're going different places around the country. They're doing draft workouts, whatever. So, and then they're going straight to single A ball, whatever it is, short season, or training camp. So they don't really get to see their family at all. So to kind of have that blessing in disguise of getting to spend time with your family a little bit before having to go back into the crazy world of baseball, that's definitely one of them. And number two, while it was a really short season, we didn't even get to play half our games. For me personally, I think this was one of the closest knit group of guys that I've been with. every single year that I've been on the team, it's always kind of like a family atmosphere. Everyone gets along. Everyone, enjoys being with each other. But this year in particular, I think, we were having fun playing, especially myself and the junior class with the senior class. Like, we've grown so close over their 4 years, our 3 years here. It's like, it was just kind of like that one last ride feeling where it's just like we were having a bunch of like just so much fun. We were in Florida on our spring break trip. We were having tons of fun. And then, for a split second, that bomb drops and, season's over and you're kind of like, whoa. But then, you look back on it and, you look back over your career at Georgetown, especially with the senior class. And you're like, those are good memories. That's something that you wouldn't trade back for anything. So, even though it was a shortened season, it was just so much fun going through the fall, going through the winter, just being with those guys. So those two things.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to the present of now and saying, I get a deep breath. I get to spend time with my family that I wouldn't have had. So it's that's something that you would never have had. It's a blessing in disguise, like you said. And another thing is in terms of kind of reflecting on the good old days, on all the great times. So it's like something past and something right now. And I know in the future, things will work out too for everybody. Once this is all done, the draft whatever happens will happen. And hopefully in 5-10 years, you'll look back at this and say, you know what, for some weird reason, it almost helped my case, or it helped my buddies into finding their minors and eventually into the bigs.
Definitely. No, I think that's kind of the way you have to look at it. I think everything happens always for a reason. So obviously sitting right here, we're under lock and key. We can't really see that right now, but 5 to 10 years down the road, like you said, you were going to look back and say like, oh, okay, that's why this happened. Like we can we'll put the puzzle together eventually.
And another positive, we get to talk right now. I don't think we'd be doing an interview.
Exactly. Yeah. No shot. If I'm playing a game right now, there's no shot we're talking to each other. You're probably
I'd be
commentating on a game. Exactly. Yeah. So this is great.
All right, Eddie, a new tradition, even though this is the first edition. So first off, thank you so much for coming on Above the Line here on Scotty Gange.
Yeah, for sure. This is fun.
It's been great. It's fun to hear from you. It's fun to see you as always. And the tradition is, I'm a big sock guy. I love socks.
Huge. Yep.
Yes, like you said. I texted you a couple days ago to bring your favorite pair of socks and an explanation with why. So what do you have today?
Yeah. So I actually brought the 4th of July Cape Cod socks that they gave us.
I've decorated a little screen with my pair.
Oh, did you? Let's go. That's awesome. Perfect. Yeah. So I'm on the same page. But yeah, no. So they gave us these, I don't know, probably around 4th of July, but I can't remember what exactly game it was, but I remember having a pretty good game or pretty good stretch of games where I was wearing those socks. So they've kind of become like my lucky socks. I wore them underneath my Georgetown uniform this year. I'm a high sock kind of guy, so underneath my blue socks that we had to wear for Georgetown, I would be wearing these.
You double socked it.
I did, yeah.
I know you're the right guy for this. Come on.
Yeah, for the first couple of days, a couple of my teammates were clowning me. They're like, "Are you wearing 2 pairs of socks underneath, like right there?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like these are my lucky socks. I can't play without them." And they're like, "Are they camo?" I was like, "Yes, they are." So a couple of guys noticed. Most guys didn't, but I wore them every single game this year. So
you should have just no, man. I was working the Cavs all off season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude. No, yeah, for sure. My calves are that big. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. There's nothing better than socks. I'm telling you, those are your socks of the day. So they're lucky you have to wear them today because you were on Above the Line.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky day, huh?
That a boy. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, thanks again for coming on. Eddie, to you, stay safe.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your patience and the technical deals we were dealing with today. But seriously,
no worries.
Awesome rest of your time. Enjoy your time with family, and best of luck to you, Eddie.
Thanks, Scotty. Thanks for having me on.